There are certain lessons about life and money that many people only understand much later than they wish they had. Not because the lessons are complicated, but because they go against the way most of us naturally think. We wait too long. We overthink decisions. We chase things we believe we're supposed to want instead of asking what we actually want. But once you start to understand a few simple principles, everything begins to shift. Your decisions become clearer, your time becomes more valuable, and your path forward starts to make more sense. So in this video, let's walk through 7 powerful life lessons that can completely change how you approach success, work, and life itself. 1. Learn to be happier with your food order. Imagine 2 different types of decision makers. The first type is the perfectionist. This person wants every possible piece of information before making a decision. If they're ordering at a restaurant, they want to read the entire menu, analyze every option, compare every ingredient, and imagine every possible outcome before finally choosing. The second type is the pragmatist. This person looks at the menu, gathers enough information to feel comfortable, picks something that seems good, and moves on. Interestingly, research shows something surprising. The pragmatist is often happier with their choice. Why? Because they don't trap themselves in endless analysis. In life, many people fall into a state known as analysis paralysis. They wait for the perfect moment, the perfect timing, the perfect information. They believe that once everything is clear, they'll finally take action. But life rarely works like that. Opportunities appear when information is incomplete. Progress happens when certainty is impossible. And the longer someone waits for perfect clarity, the more opportunities quietly pass by. Instead of trying to know everything, it's often far more powerful to aim for a reasonable level of understanding, and then move forward. Perfection is something that only becomes visible after the decision has already been made. So learn to treat life the same way you treat a simple food order. Get enough information, make a choice, and move forward confidently. 2. Invest in your ability to start from scratch. Many people believe wealth comes from a lucky starting point. They assume financial success requires privileged circumstances, large amounts of starting capital, or access to special opportunities. But there is another way to think about wealth. Instead of focusing on what you start with, focus on what you know how to build. There are certain skills that create value in almost any industry. Skills that can generate opportunity no matter where someone begins. Skills like sales, marketing, communication, technology, problem solving, entrepreneurship. These are what could be called portable skills. They travel with you. If someone truly develops these abilities, they gain something incredibly powerful, the confidence that they can rebuild from nothing if necessary. This mindset completely changes how someone approaches life. Because instead of protecting what they have, they start focusing on what they can create. When you invest in learning valuable skills, you're not just earning money in the present. You're building the capacity to generate value again and again in the future. And that ability is one of the most reliable forms of security a person can have. 3. Don't become stuck in your ways. The world changes faster than most people expect. New technologies appear, industries shift, entire ways of working transform almost overnight. And when these changes happen, people usually respond in one of 2 ways. Some resist the change. They argue that things should remain the way they were. They focus on the potential risks, the disruptions, and the problems that might come with it. Others take a different approach. They study the change. They experiment with it. They look for ways to adapt and benefit from it. The difference between these 2 mindsets often determines who moves forward and who gets left behind. A powerful way to think about this is to adopt the mindset of water. Water doesn't fight the shape of the container it enters. It adapts. It flows. It finds a way to move forward. In the same way, flexibility is one of the most valuable traits a person can develop. Because the future rarely belongs to the people who resist change. It belongs to the people who learn how to use it. 4. Extraordinary results come from ordinary actions repeated over time. One of the biggest misconceptions about success is that it happens suddenly. From the outside, it often looks like someone becomes successful very quickly. But what most people don't see is the long stretch of quiet effort that came before. The hours of work that produced very little recognition. The consistent effort when almost no one was paying attention. Success usually isn't built on a few big moments. It's built on thousands of small actions repeated consistently over time. Writing, learning, practicing, improving, over and over again. Most people underestimate how powerful this consistency really is. They try something once or twice, look at the early results, and decide whether it's working. But meaningful results rarely appear that quickly. Instead, it's far more effective to approach new goals with a longer time horizon. Choose something worth pursuing. Commit to it for a meaningful period of time. And during that period, focus on showing up and improving steadily. When ordinary actions are repeated long enough, they compound. And over time, those small daily efforts begin to produce results that look extraordinary. 5. Be honest about what you actually want. Many people spend years chasing goals that don't truly belong to them. Not because they're careless, but because it's easy to absorb the expectations of the world around us. Society suggests certain definitions of success. Social media promotes certain lifestyles. And over time, it becomes difficult to separate what we genuinely want from what we've simply been told we should want. That's why one of the most important things anyone can do is take the time to ask a very simple question. What does a good life actually look like to me? Not to other people. Not according to trends. Not according to social expectations. But personally. For some people, the answer might be freedom of time. For others, it might be meaningful work, creativity, family, or impact. The point isn't that one version of life is better than another. The point is clarity. Because once someone becomes truly honest about what they want, their decisions begin to align with that vision. And when effort is directed toward goals that actually matter, motivation becomes far stronger. Clarity creates momentum. 6. Sometimes the smartest move is to pay for time. Many people think about money in a very straightforward way. If something can be done personally, they assume it's always better to do it themselves rather than pay someone else. On the surface, this seems like a responsible financial decision. But there is an important concept that often gets overlooked: the value of time. Every hour of your day has a certain value. And when you spend hours doing tasks that could easily be outsourced, you may actually be lowering the value of your own time. For example, imagine someone spends several hours on a task that a professional could complete quickly and efficiently. Even if outsourcing the task costs money, it might still be the better decision if it frees up time for higher value work, creative thinking, or strategic planning. Outsourcing isn't only about productivity. It's also about mental space. When small responsibilities are delegated, it creates more room to focus on the activities that truly move life or business forward. This doesn't mean every task should be outsourced, but it does mean understanding a simple principle. Sometimes the best way to grow is to invest money in reclaiming your time. 7. Pay attention to your credit early. This lesson might sound less exciting than the others, but it can have a huge financial impact over time. Many of the largest purchases people make, homes, vehicles, or business investments, involve borrowing money. And when borrowing money, one factor plays a major role in determining the cost of that loan: your credit score. A strong credit score signals to lenders that you manage money responsibly. Because of this, you're more likely to qualify for lower interest rates. A lower credit score can lead to higher rates. And over the course of many years, even a small difference in interest rates can translate into thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars in additional costs. That's why it's important to understand credit early. Pay bills consistently. Avoid unnecessary debt. Build a history of responsible financial behavior. These small habits may seem insignificant in the moment, but over time, they can save an enormous amount of money. Final thoughts. When you step back and look at these lessons together, a pattern begins to appear. Progress in life rarely comes from one dramatic decision. Instead, it comes from a series of small mindset shifts. Taking action before everything is perfect. Building valuable skills. Adapting to change. Staying consistent over long periods of time. Understanding what you truly want. Valuing your time. And making thoughtful financial decisions. None of these ideas are complicated. But when they are practiced consistently, they quietly reshape the direction of a person's life. And often, the earlier these lessons are understood, the more powerful their impact becomes. Because success rarely belongs to the people who wait. It belongs to the people who start, adapt, and keep moving forward.